Yo, what's up guys, I'm back with another video, and in this one, I'm going to show you how I remade Martin Garrix and Armin van Buuren's collab Sleepless Night. It's kinda trance, kinda melodic techno. Honestly, I don't even know the exact genre, but one thing's for sure, it's a pure banger. Alright, let's dive straight into the drop. I started with a punchy techno style kick. Then I layered a top kick. For this top kick, I have enabled the reverse polarity, laid some claps and top loops to give it movement. Sounds pretty cool. Then I added hi-hat that's not exactly on the grid. This gives the track a nice groove and swing. Added some crashes, downlifters and this crowd noise sample for energy. And draw fills. Finally, some ambience layers from my atmospheric sample pack volume 2. If you are interested, link is in the description. And I also added this vocal bed. Drums altogether sounds like this. Pretty cool and groovy. Now for the mixing, on claps I added a EQ to shape the sound. Same for shakers to remove the unwanted frequencies and reduce the highs. And one important thing that I added on top loops, claps and crashes is that a subtle sidechain for the kick. It helps the transient of the kick to be more present in the mix. I learned this trick from Wild Crow. Now the drop synths. Let's create the lead sound from scratch. So this is our main melody. The main lead sounds like a distorted, gritty square wave. So let's add a square wave. To get that gritty sound, you have two ways, maybe more, but I only know two. First, add a fast LFO to the fine tune so it moves like. Second, use FM from noise, PD in Serum 2. Let's enable the noise oscillator, increase the level and select PD from noise. Now, increase this knob to get a sweet spot. Let's enable the second oscillator and choose square wave, but this one is going to be one octave down. Decrease the volume and select PD from A. Then I also added LFO to the fine tune. Then for the effects, hyperdimension to make it wide, distortion, then chorus with 26% of mix level, then compressor, then at last EQ to cut the low end. Then I added more layers. Altogether, it sounds like this. Now, let's add some effects to make it sound more powerful and huge. So, for the processing, I added EQ to cut the low end, then ODT to glue it all together, decapitator for slight distortion, again EQ to shape the sound, then Soothe to get rid of the unwanted frequencies, then Fruity Filter for automation, Fruity Balance for automation, then I'm using Fruity P controller to control the delay and reverb, then Valhalla Room for build-up automation, then at last Soothe 2, this is sidechain to the vocals, and a clipper to cut the peaks, and Kickstart for sidechain. Now, here's the cool part. One thing I did for the first time was render out the wet signal of the reverb and delay and mix it separately. I saw this in Brooks Told You So masterclass. He rendered out the reverb to mix it better in the track. I felt the same with this track. Enough yapping. In this track, the reverb and delay sounded weird. So I rendered them out. Decrease the dry knob. Hit the small dot, press Alt plus R. Then I added EQ to shape the sound, and that's it. I also added a layer from the second verse. It's very simple sound, just one octave down. And in the second part of the drop, we have this piano melody. Layers. And this plug. For the effects, ODT to glue it all together, then this reverb. You can see how I use reverb here. I got a question in comments asking me to show how I use it. I just play with the mix knob, low cut, size and decay to find the sweet spot. I'll cover this properly in a mixing video, so don't worry. Then EQ to shape the sound, then again reverb, but I'm using this in the second verse or break. Then stereo shaper to make it wide and kickstart for sidechain. Now the bass. The bass consists of a thick sub bass. For processing, just EQ to cut the highs and to shape the sound. Then mid bass, layers, And for the processing, I added decapitator, then EQ to shape the sound, OTT, camel crusher for distortion, then again EQ to shape the sound, plus pitch bends to add movement and energy. All these layers together make the drop feel big and aggressive. Now, the chords. Layers. And for the effects, EQ to shape the sound, camel crusher for slight distortion, then OTT to glue it all together, then at last EQ to shape the sound. That's it for the drop. For the intro, I added a piano with some harmonic layers. Yes, you heard me right, harmonic layers. Layers. Then this laps piano. On piano, I added OTT, saturation, then EQ to shape the sound, and a fruity filter for automation. Then on the harmonic layers, I added this EQ to shape the sound, then fruity filter for automation. Then I added ambience from my pack to fill out the empty spaces. In the verse, I introduced a pluck, a tonal shot, and a guitar melody, plus a saw chord that opens gradually, and this tremolo ambience. Then we have this vocal section. I added this Reese bass and this soft pad. Then we straight dive into the build up. We've got build up drums, crashes, downlifter and uplifters to create tension. Plus drop lead drowned in reverb. I also added this guitar melody. And I also added this volume automation for Reese bass to fade it down before the drop. And build up automations like volume automation and stereo automation. In the second part of the song, the drum and bass continue with the vocal. Then we have a string section following the same lead pattern.
What's up, man?
These are lap strings. And this pluck melody from the second part of the drop. Everything is pretty much same. And this portion with just lead melody. Then we have a second drop with a fake drop part. And yeah, that's it for the track. For the master, I added EQ to shape the sound, then Suit 2 to get rid of the unwanted frequencies, and a Pro L2 to boost the track. That's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. It might not be the most entertaining video. I ran out of time since I have to upload it on Friday and today is already Thursday. By the way, you can check out the FLP if you're interested. The link is in the description. Also, you can check out my Atmospheric Sample Pack Volume 2 or the All Project Bundle if you're interested. This is the best way to support the channel so I can keep making these videos. Find them at anasamirmusic.com. Link is in the description. With that being said, like, share and subscribe. It helps the channel. And I will meet you next Friday. Have a great weekend. Now, let's check out the final result.
Whispers running around my mind. The walls are closing, I'm trapped inside. The ground keeps shaking. Feels like there's no escaping. I try to